everybody. Oh my goodness, I almost said good morning, but it's not. It's 4 in the afternoon. Welcome to my third Facebook Live of the day, and we're going to be celebrating today the celebration catalog. We're going to have the ombre paper again on display, and we're also going to dive into that fabulous new spring catalog from Stampin' Up. The official name is the January through June 2021 catalog. It's a sweet little mini. Let's see, I can show it. Looks like this. Hopefully you have one. If you don't have one, let me know so that I can get one out to you. If you're one of my customers, there's no charge at all. Otherwise, if you place an order with me, I will make sure that one goes in the mail right away. Hello, oh, it's so good to see all of you. Fantastic. Great, great, great. All right, so I did have a question from someone about joining Stampin' Up, and they were wondering about all those papers I was showing, like what? So let me just grab them real quick. All of these papers, yes, they are your gift from Stampin' Up when you join. So if you are planning on joining under me, you can go directly to, well, just go to my blog, www.stamping2share, and then there's a little drop-down menu at the top, and you can click on that, and it talks about joining my team. And then there's a link that takes you to the Stampin' Up website. But when you sign up, you get all of these papers automatically. You don't have to put those in your starter kit. They will come in your starter kit without actually putting them in the starter kit. So I think that has some people confused. So you would just need to come up with a list of $125 worth of product that you would like to add to your starter kit. And then that paper pumpkin coupon that Stampin' Up gives you, and all of these papers will be added onto the starter kit automatically. So that's all part of the starter kit. So anyway, a really good question. Where is the announcement on this? I can share that too. If you have the celebration catalog, just turn to the back, and it is back here. It talks about joining Stampin' Up in the special. Now there is a typo on that. So they say that there's actually an assortment of 6 6x6 paper packs, but I think they got that mixed up with the 6x6. It's actually 5 6x6 paper packs, so that's what you get. And all the, you know, that little announcement, that little blurb is right back here, so you can always just look that up. All right, let's talk about the fabulous many messages set of stamps and dies. This is such a fun little card that we're going to make. Here it is. So let me flip the camera down and we'll go ahead and get started. So just give me a second. I don't have it connected to a cord, so I should be able to do this a little quicker. All right, so these are the beautiful cards that we're going to create on this Facebook Live. Look at, oh my gosh, so stunningly gorgeous. And I just want you to know that the Many Messages stamp set, oh, it's like a dream come true. I think I mentioned somewhere it's like sliced bread. It's something you didn't even need, you know you needed until you got it, and then you think, oh my gosh, how did I ever live without this? It's fantastic. So let's put all this aside for a second. I'm going to show you this bundle. So this is what it looks like. So you got all these different words, but the crazy thing is they're not all separated. So they look like this. So you get one big background stamp with all these different words, all these many, many messages. And then the cool thing is that there is a die that comes with it that looks like this. It's one big die, and it fits over the top of all those little messages that you've just stamped. And you just do one little pass through the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and bam, you have all of your cutouts ready to go to put on your cards. It's amazing. Amazing. So let me just spend a little time going through this because it's just so cool. I mean, it's really cool. Okay, so I'm going to share with you what I did because I know you want to know. So what I did is I took this big block and I inked it up with Versamark. So Versamark will just sort of leave a watermark over the top of your cardstock. You can barely see it. As it dries, you can kind of see it a little more, but it's there. So you just ink it up with Versamark, and then you cover it with, well, in this particular case, I inked it up with Versamark, stamped it on basic black paper. Then I took white embossing powder that Stampin' Up sells, and I just sprinkled it on, shook off the excess, and used my heat tool to create this. So it looks like this. Then I want to show you something super cool that you might not know until you start working with this. So then you take your set of dies that looks like this, and what you're going to do is there's a few little markers. So there's this star, this heart, a star here, and a star there. So they're very strategically placed. And then what you can do is when you get all of the, so I don't really look at the words because it's really distracting to look at the words and try to figure out how this is lined up. So what I did is I actually lined up this with that heart, the star up here, the star down here, and the star over here. And when you have all the stars and the hearts lined up, you run it through your machine. So if it's a little wiggly, if you don't, if it feels like it's going to wiggle around, just put a little washi tape or maybe some kind of removable Post-it or something just to keep it in place. But then run it through your Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and it will cut out everything perfectly. So there's lots of different sentiments on here. So when I had them all cut out, I started separating them. So I have all of my congratulations sentiments in one little baggie. So I think I made like 3 of these and cut them out. So I'd have all these little sentiments. And then we have, this is like a sympathy one. So it says, thinking of you with sympathy and prayer is the long one. And then there's another one that's just, kind of an encouragement one. Be strong, be brave, you've got this. And then I've got another little baggie that's full of all the different thank yous. And another little baggie that says, happy anniversary, hope your day is full of love and laughter and joy. So that one, I mean, I just love having those two together. So I separated them out so I wouldn't have to dump the whole bag out every single time to try to find which sentiments I want. So this way they're sort of separated out into different categories. And then these are kind of all the just generic ones. So this is one we're going to use today, sending happy thoughts. I really like that one. Oh, I got so much glare here. Sorry about that. I'm sure it's all the little cellos. So anyway, this is one we're going to use today, sending happy thoughts. I'm going to take that out. And then the other one I want to use today is your kindness means more than you could ever imagine. Oh, and there's a set of birthday ones too. So these are all my birthday ones. Look at all the different birthday sentiments. There's hooray, it's your birthday. Wishing, what does this one say? Wishing you a year of magical moments and wonderful memories. And then there's just the standard happy birthday. There's just a lot. It's just really a lot. So I'm going to kind of find the thank you one. Here it is. I'm going to use this one too because I really like this long one. Because I always see people, do these really cool white on black sentiments, and I have always wanted to do it, but I never wanted to just like get out all of this stuff, my Versamark, my heat tool, my embossing powder. I mean, I'm a lazy stamper. I don't like doing all that stuff. So when I do this, it's like I'm getting all of this in one shot. So it makes it seem a lot more time efficient for me, and I can just, do this all, run it through a couple of machine, a couple of times through the machine, And boom, I've got all of my stuff that I could ever want for like probably the next 3 months for card making, as far as using these different sentiments on different cards. So this one says, your kindness means more than you could ever imagine. I love it. All right, so I'm going to set that aside. So I'm going to be using one here, and then I'm going to use the other one here. The other reason, when I was designing this card, another thing I thought about is I've been seeing everybody's been using this Oso Ombre 6x6 Designer Series paper, which is just gorgeous. It's at the $50 spend. So if you place a $50 Stampin' Up! Order right now, you can get this free. But most people seem to be using the more ombre, like the really obvious ombre side, where it goes from light to dark. So we've got the Bermuda Bay, the Rococo Rose, the Garden Green, and the Blackberry Bliss. But I wanted to come up with a card that was using the printed side. So I wasn't seeing as many cards made with the printed side. Turns out you can stamp on the printed side just like you're stamping on the other side. So that's what I did. I literally just stamped and colored on the printed side, and I think it looks really, really pretty. And I love the fact that the ombre paper means that there's going to be some lighter areas to it. So it just sort of seemed like sunlight, you know, just kind of floating in off to the side, and then I could put that little sentiment right there, and it just looks so pretty. And so then this one too also has just a bit of lightness up towards the top, which I just think looks so, so cool. Okay, so these are the colors we're using, obviously. Here we've got basic black, provides great contrast. So we've got the basic black matte, we've got the basic black, the white on the basic black sentiment. We also have Poppy Parade, because, you know, I'm going to be using a stamp set that has no sentiments. Can it be that Stampin' Up! Makes a stamp set with no sentiments? Yeah, every once in a while they do. That's when the many messages is really going to come in handy. So if you have any stamp sets without messages, well, many messages is your answer. So here it is, the Painted Poppy stamp set. I love that. And I haven't used it in a while, so I thought I'm going to use that. So that's what we're doing. We're using it. So let's get started making this card. All right, so the first thing we're going to need is our inside and outside. I am using Granny Apple Green paper. This is cut at 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. You might wonder, why in the world does she always, like every time I have a side opening card, I do it landscape? Well, there's a reason for that, and some of you who have maybe not watched me as long as others wonder why. Well, it's because if I take this card and go like this, what happens? Over time, it sinks and it just doesn't stay up, especially if you've got a lot of embellishments or something like that. It just doesn't stay up for me. And I don't like that. I don't like my cards falling down. So instead of doing tent style with this, I do the, I open it up landscape wise, and then I can set it up like a normal card like this, and it doesn't start sagging. It doesn't sag down. So that is often why I do these kind of cards, so I can just stand them up like this. Okay, so now that pressing question has been answered, we'll continue on. So the inside panel, not a big deal. We're leaving it blank because this is a thank you note. You need room to write your thank you. So we're going to take strips of the Coordinating Designer Series paper. So we've got 3/4 by 5 1/4, and I am going to take my Stampin' Seal, put a little bit of seal on the back of both of these, and then we're just going to drop them into the inside panel of the card. So there's one, and there's the other. Pretty easy peasy, but I do like to have something on the inside that coordinates with the outside. I think it's just a more classy look. So we've got the 4 1/4 by 11 inches scored at 5 1/2. That's our card base. The next thing I'm doing is, you may notice, I have faded out that pretty intense Granny Apple Green by adding a layer of vellum. So that's the next thing. So the vellum is 4 by 5 1/4, and because we're going to have some panels over the top of this, we don't really, you can use glue or you can use snail or whatever you want. I'm going to just go ahead and use some snail. So I am just putting it on. When I put snail on, I actually keep it more upright like this. Boy, it took me a long time to get used to using snail, but once I did, I can use it just as easily as not snail. What did I say? Seal. 3 Facebook Lives in one day is a little too much for my brain, I think. I had a heck of a time using seal when it first came out because I kept trying to use it like snail. You have to actually go at a more upward angle when you use it, and then it works a lot better. So again, I'll just show you what I do, and then you have to kind of lean back on itself to get a good clean cut off. But just to show you, it works really, really well once you get the hang of it. But it did take a while to get the hang of it, I'm not going to lie. I didn't even really like it when I first got it. But then, now I love it because it's just one of those things where when you get used to it, you're okay with it. Okay, so we've got our soft panel of vellum over the top. Looks so pretty. Then the next thing we need to do is do a little stamping. So I took the ombre garden green paper that has those little circle patterns on. I cut it to 3 by 4 1/4. And here's my Poppies from Painted Poppies. I am using Tuxedo Black ink because we will be coloring with Stampin' Blends. And we've got the Poppy Parade Stampin' Blends. So this is how you do it. So you're going to ink up your stamp, and the first image is going to be stamped directly in the middle. I mean, you have to have the bottom of the stamp go just a little bit below of the paper line. So there it is. You can see it just a little bit came off on the scrap. Then ink up one side, and you're gonna stamp that over here and just tuck that in. It's really nice how this stamp works. So you can see that it has the same sort of dip here as it does here, and then there's another dip here, and we're going to bring that up over here. So that's why if you start in the middle, then you can make each side kind of gradiated to match the other, so it's symmetrical. All those words just to say that. There we go. So pretty, isn't it? Okay, so we're done with the stamping, believe it or not. There wasn't a lot of stamping because I'm not going to do the whole heat emboss and all of that. I explained it, and that's good enough, right? Okay, so here is the, well, I guess I do need this scrap again. So I'm just going to show you real quick how to color these flowers. So you're just going to take your light Poppy Parade. I usually do, you can do dark or light first, which it's just kind of whatever you feel like doing. I'm no expert at this, and that's why I like it so much, because you don't have to be an expert to use Stampin' Blends. You barely touch it on. It does most of the work for you. So you just touch it on to the flowers. And then after you've done 5 or 6 of them, then you can go in with the darker Stampin' Blend. And I'm just going to add an accent here at the bottom. And that's all there is to it. It doesn't show up real great at first, but once it has done, so like if I'm doing a big open flower, that if you can really see it, I'm trying to, like, here's a flower that's really variegated. I don't know, I'm hoping you can see this. It's hard to say. I'll try to hold it really still. Can you see the variegation? It's really, really pretty in real life. All right, so we're going to pretend I've done all that because I prepared in advance so you wouldn't have to watch me color for a really long time. So here they are. Yay! All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to mount this onto a panel of Poppy Parade. So this is the Poppy Parade. I've cut it so that it is a very skinny border. It's going to be a 1/8 inch border all the way around. So this is 3 1/8 by 4 3/8. And we're just going to go ahead and again use some Stampin' Seal. Just because this is a little bit of a lighter paper and I don't want to take a chance of glue lines. Nothing looks worse than a glue line coming through. Not a problem with our regular cardstock, but sometimes on our lighter weight papers, it can be. So again, when you're centering in on your panel, you're holding it in each corner and you're just looking at each corner here to make sure that it's all lined up. And then you get very beautifully centered panels. Do the same thing over here. And once more, we're going to center this in, hold it in each corner, look at your two corner sections that you aren't holding on to and make sure those are even and then press it down. All right, then we're going to need a basic black panel. That is actually going to be put directly onto our card base, so we can do that next. So that panel is going to be a 1/4 inch wider than that Poppy Parade panel, so it's going to have some weird numbers again, but trust me, it all looks great when it's done. So it's 3 3/8 by 4 5/8. That's the basic black panel. So I am going to use my glue now because it's so much faster. And I can wiggle it into place. So I'm going to set this right over the top of the vellum and I'm just going to make sure it's exactly in the middle. And it is. Now I'm going to do the same thing over here. Put glue all the way around your rectangle of basic black. Flip it over and you can just kind of wiggle it right into place so that is very much in the center and everything is nice and even. Isn't that beautiful? So now the crowning touch here, we need to add some dimensionals to the back of this. So I'm going to open this up and grab some. Now I don't always use my dimensionals like this. This is more special because I don't want to take the time to peel off the peelies when I'm doing a Facebook Live. Because it takes a long time. Like when I'm just normally stamping, I just use them right off the sheets and I have peelies all over me and the floor and everywhere else because that's stamping fun, right? But when I'm doing a Facebook Live, I actually take the peelies off with packing tape. And then I store it between 2 cut down Stampin' Up! Craft sheets so that I can just easily grab these and go right to putting it on my card right where I want it. And again, just float it over the top of that basic black panel, and when you feel like it looks good, press it in, and there we go. So this card looks okay at the moment, but it just doesn't pop. I mean, it pops a little bit, but just wait till we add those sentiments. That's where the magic is going to happen. So I've got the sentiments right here. We're going to put that little square up there, and we're going to put this one over here. I will be giving away these cards later this week. So how do you get in the drawing? So easy. Just share this video. Let me know you've shared. You can also, I'm looking for dimensionals again because I want to put these little guys up too. You can, and I think just one dimensional there will do it. You can also just make comments. Let me know where you're watching from. I do go back and read all the comments. I can't always comment back on everything, but I do read them all. So now when you're putting in this little square from the Many Messages bundle, I'm just barely dropping it in there so I can kind of manipulate it before I press it down, and that looks, I think it needs to go over a little more. So let me look at it. Nope, it's not. It's kind of crooked. See, I can't get my head right over the top to see what I'm doing. And it's got to be perfect because it's for you guys. There it is. It's done. So that one's on. Now for this little skinny one, let's go ahead and use some mini dimensionals. So when I'm putting mini dimensionals onto a skinny strip of paper, I like to use my take your pick tool, and I take the picky part of the tool, and then I've got some mini dimensionals here, some of them. Oh, and then of course it didn't come off very good, but now it is. So then I can just pop my mini dimensional right where I want it. And because this is kind of a long strip, I'm actually going to put, I don't know, 4 or 5 of these mini dimensionals on, because I don't want it sagging in the middle. So it looks like, well, we're going to need about 5 of them. So I'm just picking off each dimensional with the take your pick tool. Works really well. Just stab it and then drop it onto your tiny skinny little panel. Then we're going to put this right here so that it kind of comes off a little bit. And where do we want this? I got to check. I think about like that. I'm just barely dropping it down. I'm going to give it a look. Yep, that looks good. Press it down. And there we have it. Our 2 cards. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty, isn't it? Well, I have had so much fun today getting together with you 3 different times. If you haven't seen the other videos, you're welcome to run over to my Facebook page at Stamping to Share and check them out. Eventually, this is a process, you guys. I don't do this overnight. It is too much work, and I'm exhausted. I haven't even hardly eaten today. I wanna quit and go upstairs and make some supper. We're down to like cans of soup in the house because I've been so busy. But anyway, it's exciting. It's fun to be here, but I just want to let you know that eventually I will have a free PDF for you on my blog, www.stampingtoshare.com, and you can run over there sometime within the next week and pull off that free PDF. You guys have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.